What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of the Jericho Report weekly news briefing. It is Sunday, the 17th of May, 2020. As always, the first link below will take you over to the Patreon post. That's where you can find all the madness. I got a ton of stuff to give you this week. Let's get into it. Official count on COVID at this hour: 4,635,000 worldwide, 311,000 dead. In the United States, looks like we're hanging around 1,500,000 or so, with less than 89,000 dead. I'll put a link to the map. Now, some people ask why I provide these numbers. They asked last week because these are the official numbers. These are all the numbers I got to go on. Do I trust these numbers? Absolutely not. But these numbers are the basis for a lot of other news that I'm giving you, so that's why I provide them. I trust that anybody watching my videos can make up their own mind. Let's get into the news. Coronavirus could take 5 years to bring under control, warns World Health Organization chief scientist. That from MSN. China playing lockdown whack-a-mole as its battle against the second wave of COVID-19 cases. Put a link to that. Como alerts states to mystery coronavirus illness after 3 children die. That from The Guardian. We got Northeast Kansas meatpacking plant shuts down amid COVID-19 cases. More troubles with meat in the United States. Nebraska health officials stop reporting COVID-19 confirmations at meatpacking plants as case counts continue to rise. California biopharmaceutical company claims coronavirus antibody breakthrough. Let me guess, they're going to have to inject you with some antibodies? No, thank you. Lindsey Graham, however, says Bill Gates should be the new leader of the World Health Organization. Twitter video on that. What the hell are you thinking? Nunes says transcripts show Russia investigation was phony the whole time. Of course, this whole thing is going on again. I got another link on that. With Flynn cleared and U.S. outraged, Deep State is freaking out. Now, myself, I don't give a damn about the so-called Deep State. You know who my fight is against? The New World Order. These people that use terms like Deep State and Q this and Q that are for people that are only half awake. You know who the real Q was? That was us 10, 12 years ago. Over to financial news. You want to make a prediction? Nothing's going to happen. How the U.S. stock indexes fared on Friday. Looks like the Dow Jones gained 60 points, but for the week the Dow dropped 645 points up and down for the Dow. 3 million more unemployment claims as real jobless rate soars to Great Depression levels. That from Fortune. Meanwhile, I got one from the Examiner. Study finds that 42% of pandemic layoffs will become permanent job losses. This thing is going to be the what's going to come of all this is going to be so devastating. Here's the real job number for April. 42 million unemployed, 25.5% unemployment, says Zero Hedge. Put a link to that. What say you? Pandemic wrecks many states' budgets, could trigger deep cuts. Yeah, wait till they run out of money to pay the firemen and the police officers and the paramedics. Oh boy, lost your job? Well, there is light. Consider becoming a contact tracer. Put a link to this from CBS News. No, thank you. Social Security recipients may be in for a rude awakening later this year. I'll put a link to this from Market Watch. What's that about? Coronavirus pandemic could drive homeless up as much as 45% by the end of 2020. Economist projects. Yeah, no crap. But everybody's saved. Don't you see what happened last week? $3 trillion coronavirus relief bill passed. House Dems fund most radical programs in U.S. history. Up, and away with the debt. Now, I don't think this has a chance of being signed by President Trump, but 3 million more? 3 trillion more. I can't even count. Pennsylvania governor threatens to withhold coronavirus aid to counties that defy lockdown orders. Can he even do that? We're over to New World Order and Police State News, and this is the point in the video where I ask you to share this information. I got some important stories coming up. Michigan official says any protester brandishing firearms should be arrested at tomorrow's Stay Home rally set for the Capitol. Well, that happened on Thursday. And guess what happened? Heavily armed protesters gather again at Michigan State Capitol to decry stay-at-home order. Way to go, Michigan. Right on. Giving it to them. Crowds pack Wisconsin bars hour after court says coronavirus stay-at-home order unconstitutional. Right on, Wisconsin. I'll put a link to that. Citizens swarm cops arresting woman on the beach. Arresting woman for being on the beach, forced them to stand down. I think this happened out in California somewhere. Yeah, check it out. People storming the cops. Well, people are getting pissed. Back here in Missouri, just across the river, Illinois governor threatens to use the Illinois State Police against businesses who reopen early. Really now? Will you just try it? Pope Francis calls for obedience to the state during the lockdowns. Well, I'm just going to hold my tongue on that one. I'll put a link to it. NBC News says anti-vaxxers could pose public health risk when coronavirus vaccine arrives. They're already talking crap about the anti-vaxxers. Meanwhile, there's a petition on whitehouse.gov. We call for the investigation into Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for medical malpractice and crimes against humanity. This was started April 10th. Needed 100,000 signatures. It gained 563,000 signatures. You want me to make a prediction as to what's going to happen? Absolutely nothing. But if you want to have some hope, Tennessee to conduct mass testing in public housing. Of course they will. They always do the testing on the slaves, do they not? They did it here in St. Louis back in the 70s, I think it was. Look that up. Washington's phase 2 of coronavirus recovery requires restaurants to keep daily log of customers. Really now? That from King 5. Trump says he would mobilize military to distribute coronavirus vaccine when it's ready. Wow, right out of the movie Contagion. Anybody see the ending of the movie Contagion? Wasn't it the military that delivered the vaccine? And this is the article that I want you to share this week. RFID chip tech could be used. Department of Defense and HHS awarded contract for 100 million pre-filled syringes for future COVID-19 vaccine. RFID syringes. I'll put a link to it. It is not a joke, people. Trump economic advisor says there is no downside implementing national coronavirus tracing system. Really, that from Media ITV. Meanwhile, Mitch McConnell, if you're sharing all this information online, be advised McConnell is pushing Senate to pass measure that would let the FBI collect Americans' web browsing history without a warrant, like they're not already doing that. Over to World War III news. I got some couple stories off the top here. F-22 performing training flight crashed at Eglin Air Force Base. I think that's down in Florida. I'll put a link to that. Meanwhile, not as bad as what happened over in Iran. Iran Navy accidentally shot one of their own warships with a missile during a training exercise, killing 19 and injuring 15. That should never happen. Iran building new weapons storage at military base in eastern Syria. Satellite images show that from Fox News. We got one from RT. Jordan's king warns Israel of massive conflict if it proceeds with West Bank annexation plans. I don't know anything about that. I'll put a link to it. BBC puts us out. Indian and Chinese troops clash on the border of... How do you say that? I'm not even going to try to butcher it. I'll put a link to that. Pentagon randomly test units over stealth carriers concern, starting with nuclear personnel. What's this about? From Zero Hedge. Put a link to that on 510. Other news, we got Russia test new hypersonic anti-ship missile for Tu-22M3M bomber. Okay. Meanwhile, Kim Jong-un may be back at the resort as North Korea claims to keep coronavirus away. Okay, is Kim alive or dead? We still don't know. Trump calls it a super duper missile, talking about the Space Force and the new missile they're working on that'll move 17 times faster than the current missiles. But Russia countered, calling the super duper missile the super pooper missile. We're over to Earth changes in 2012 news now. We had a couple big 6 this week. We had 6.5 out of Nevada. I heard they felt that all the way in San Francisco, and we had the 6.6 out of the Solomon Islands. I'll put a link to the recent earthquake data. Didn't see too much on volcanoes this week. I do have a link on the Nevada quake. US 95 in Nevada back open after closure due to 6.5 magnitude earthquake. They did feel that in San Francisco. That's quite a distance. Thousands without power in Maine as polar vortex freezes big chunk of U.S. Put a link to this from Fox News. Meanwhile, evacuation orders lifted in Florida. Wildfire rain helps firefighters battle the blaze. That 18 hours ago from the Weather Channel. From the New York Post, we got Greta, I don't even know how to say her last name, Thunberg, added to CNN's expert coronavirus panel. This is the one who doesn't know how to talk without her script. I'll put a link to this. Did you ever see her? Just Google her name without script. Interesting stuff. Earth's magnetic pole is shifting dramatically from a powerful tug of war. A lot of people are saying that this is the 2012 this year. We'll see what happens, people. Navy fighter jets intercept 8 UFOs and even locked on one with air-to-air missiles, classified reports show. Not sure if this is the one that came out a couple weeks ago, but this is a newer article. Speaking of UFOs, bizarre UNICEF video urges kids to accept reptilian aliens. Yeah, did you see this? Scroll down and watch this video, this UNICEF video. It's from a while back, but it's just very interesting. Popped up on GLP this week. Mystery as 60 peculiar cubes with inscriptions pulled from the river. Wow, check that out. You know, it's like we're talking about pole shift, and this might be the 2012. You know, every now and then, you know, planets tip over and everything goes into the ocean. I got one more in the Earth changes in 2012. Then scientists reveal flowing new evidence of raging ancient rivers and water on Mars. Well, maybe if you go back and really dig into the history, ancient ancestors talked about, you know, visitors that come down from planet Nibiru, and, you know, the comets hitting the Earth, and, you know, the pole shift and things tip over and everything goes into the ocean, and the city of Atlantis and all that. I mean, who knows? I wasn't here. I didn't see it for myself, but it could be. Over to strange and bizarre news. Las Vegas Airport provides PPE vending machines for passengers. Well, right on, you can go up and get your PPE. Meanwhile, we got a factory in Colombia making hospital beds that can be turned into coffins if patient dies. Well, isn't that just groovy? I'll put a link to that. Cafe tells customers to wear pool noodles to enforce social distancing. Check that out. Get your pool noodles here. Dutch officials advise to single people find a sex buddy for lockdown. Woot! That from The Guardian. 7-year-old, this is what happens when the kids aren't in school in St. Louis. 7-year-old shot while attempting to burglarize St. Louis home with other boys. I'll put a link to that. Madness. Los Angeles sheriff says inmates are deliberately trying to catch coronavirus to force prisons to release more criminals. Well, duh. Bullseye target found at Nashville NAACP president's home. What up with that? That from U.S. News. Got one from Sputnik here. T-Bone T-Bone contention. Texas grocery store cashier attacked by customer over a meat buying limit. I need my meat. 21st Space Wing commander found dead in his home. I wonder who he pissed off. Put a link to that. And I got one more. Authorities. Putnam County deputy attempting to shoot attacking dog accidentally shoots himself. I just shot myself. Everybody remember that video? Google that one. For all other news, please check my favorite videos. I favorited a ton of stuff this week. WTF, you have no right not to be vaxxed. The $3 trillion bills over there. Patriot Nurses got one. Fox 10 Phoenix is putting them out. All kinds of good stuff over here. It's just too much to... Hey, look, there's Frankie McDonald over there. Right on. Happy birthday, Frankie. Belated. I'll put a link to my favorites. Thank you to everybody who continues to put out content. You guys are doing an awesome job. And shout-outs this week. It's got to go to Officer Greg Anderson, one of these Seattle area police departments, I think is where he worked. This police officer got up on Instagram and told it how it is. This police officer right here, this man you're looking at, if every police officer in the United States of America would do what this man did, would stand up and say, no, we're not going against the Constitution, no, we're not doing this to the people, we wouldn't have a problem. Well, of course, you know, he spoke out and he lost his job. Please take a look at his video and his reply video telling you what happened after his commanders told him to remove the video. And, you know, somebody started a fundraiser for him, one of his friends. They were trying to raise $50,000. He's got $416,000. I'll put a link to his GoFundMe. Definitely check out what that man has to say. And if you're a law enforcement, definitely check out both of his videos and ask yourself where you stand on these issues. Will you stand up for the people and the Constitution, or are you just going to do your job and enforce tyranny on the people? This man deserves all the love and respect in the world, in my opinion. That's all I got for this week, guys. If you like this report, please give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. If you think it sucked, it's the worst of YouTube. You never want to see you again, please rate that. It helps me move around. You can also follow me on Facebook, Gab, Twitter, the YouTube community feed, all kinds of other places. All my links are always at the bottom, just in case this channel goes missing. A lot of things not heard recently. David Icke's channel went down, so you never know. Make sure you're following me other places. Definitely follow me over on BitChute. That link is at the bottom. You can also support me on Patreon or directly with PayPal. I appreciate any help. I put a lot into these reports. This was certainly a packed one. Tell me what you think, guys. What's coming up? Still a lot of talk of comets and asteroids and all this stuff. We got Trump talking about he's going to send in the military with the vaccines, you know, and they're pushing it through, and now we got the super duper missile and all this stuff. Crazy, crazy, crazy madness. Thank you guys for hanging out with me for a few minutes, though. You guys take care, stay safe, remain vigilant. I will see you on the next one.